screen flow. I'm using a Mac, so just in case this dies out. Alright, so hi guys, we've got LaYinka here. She's a good friend of mine. She's over in the UK. I'm here in Perth in Australia, and she's gonna help us. Some of you might be interested in what she does, and also things we met on a program we did together. So we're both mentors of different niches, a niche if the Americans want to say it, and maybe you can tell us more about yourself, Linka. Where you're from originally? I know I just told them that you're from the UK, but maybe a bit more history and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, originally my heritage is Nigerian, so I'm of Nigerian origin, and I was born in Nigeria actually before my parents brought me to the UK when I was two. So I'm too British to be Nigerian. I'm too Nigerian to be British. I'm just like myself,
That's right.
which is awesome, and it's an awesome space to be. I know people feel a bit lost when
Yep.
they're not enough for something, but as you'll kind of like find out from our conversation,
Yep.
it's we don't need to be placed in
Mm.
order to feel grounded in ourselves. So yeah, I'm originally from Nigeria, but I've lived here pretty much in the
Nice.
UK all my life.
So can you tell us more about like you've already told us about yourself, but what is it that you do? What kind of service that you do, and how is it that you help those kind of people?
Okay. So I empower ambitious women to reclaim their power and be who they were created to be. And I've gone through a massive transition in my work because I'm a certified neuro-linguistic programming therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of my work is based on an inside out approach
Mm-hmm.
towards personal change and development and growth. So usually, when people go to see someone, a coach or whatever, people come to me all the time and say, oh, Liyinka, I want to reach this goal and I want to reach that and I want to do this in my life and that in my life. And I'm kind of like, I listen and I'm like, uh-huh. So what's stopping you from being there already?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's what I want to focus on. So you can do all the planning, all the smart goaling, all of that beautiful stuff.
Yep, yep.
But I am a firm believer that we all have what we need
Mm-hmm.
to be excellent already, right?
Nice, nice.
It's just that maybe we've forgotten. Maybe we've allowed other narratives to become our own.
Mm.
Maybe we've decided to take on someone else's story.
Mm.
Maybe we have allowed societal conditions or whatever it may be to stop us from truly shining in the way we were created to shine. I believe everyone has the
Yeah.
capacity already. And so
Yep.
whenever a woman comes to me to work with me, I don't ever aim to give her what she doesn't have.
Yep.
I come with a full belief that you already have what you need.
Yep.
I'm just going to help you excavate it from the depths of where it's buried,
That's right.
and so that you can shine in the way you were created to shine.
Okay, cool. So, like, I like stories, right? And,
Yeah, so do I.
and I mean, obviously, like, the people obviously want to hear, like, can you give an example? I mean, you don't have to share names with any of your clients. What kind of transformation stories that you help, like, from where they started, and, from after going through a program with you, or maybe you also can talk about your program after the story of this person that you've helped, or this client that you helped, what it involves as well.
Yeah.
So if you can tell me a bit about like one of your client success story, and it might be relatable to people listening. Cool.
Gosh, I've got so many client success stories,
Ah.
and and that's I have full certainty in the work that I do, not
Yes.
because it's me, but
Yes.
because, of how I choose to show up, but also how the ladies, I encourage them to show up.
Yes.
And when they're not showing up how they need to show up, I kind of tell them with some tough love, like, listen,
Yep.
like
Yep.
you can't get the results you're looking for unless you show up.
Yep.
And so I've worked with so many different women. Like one of my one of my clients who I just recently wrapped up work with, she's a general practitioner here, so a GP, a doctor here in the
Yes.
UK.
Yes.
And, you would think, the doctor,
Yep.
she knows about health. She knows
Yeah.
about all of this stuff, right? She should know how to help herself.
Yep.
But she, and this is what I say to people, right? She lacked so much confidence in herself.
Oh.
She would go into a room with a client and she'd be scared that she'd mess up, right? She
Perfectionist.
would worry so much that she would cause them harm. Like, and she was an incredible human being, incredible woman, right?
Yep.
So fabulously intelligent, but she lacked really in her self-belief.
Okay.
She lacked in self-confidence.
Yep.
And self-confidence. And you would never know it just by looking at her. And this is the fascinating thing about confidence, right? People think, yeah, confidence is how you hold yourself. You just, you can talk on stage, and hey, there are a heck of a lot of people who can stand on stage, talk a good game,
Yep. Yep.
but in their head they're like, you're worthless, you're useless, you're not good enough, you're a failure, you're blah 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 blah, right? But they're playing a good game. So my that particular client, she came to me, she said, this is the issue, this is what's currently going on in my life, and I'm always curious, what is at the root of all this?
Yep.
Yes, you are, you lack in confidence. Yes, you worry about your clients. And yes, I could tell you some tricks and tips in order to show up differently, but we don't get to the root. And it's when we get to the root, and we got to the root and we excavated all the mess that she was carrying internally, all the anger that she hadn't realized she was carrying, the self-loathing, the lack of forgiveness that she had for herself. When we resolved all of those things at a really deep level, she is now in a place where it's amazing because it's gone beyond her work. Boundaries with her in-laws. She has been able to set boundaries with her in-laws. Wow. She's been able to separate what they say about her from who she really is. Wow. And therefore it doesn't affect how she sees and feels in herself. She's established an amazing relationship with her teenage daughter that was on the rocks because she was just up in her own head and in her own mess. Yeah. And so it's amazing to me whenever someone comes to me with one problem and we help them resolve that one problem, it has such a ripple effect in other areas of their lives. And it's always an honor to me, when I see a woman who just shows up, she does the work, she allows us to go to those deeply uncomfortable places, and she moves through it, and she gets to the other side, and she's like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Cool. Oh, good stuff. That's like priceless, man. I mean, like, the more things that you solve is really incredible. So tell me the kind of people you can't help, the type you cannot help. What are the people that you won't be open to helping in your program?
The people who aren't suitable are those who are victims to their own stories.
Okay.
And I say those who are hell-bent on blaming everything and everyone for the issues in their lives.
Yep.
Because I've had experiences of really doing my best to work with such people.
Yep.
And it was incredibly frustrating on both ends. But, I can see you, I can really see you, but you're not allowing yourself to let go of this story that it's your husband or it's the kids and stuff. And when someone finally accepts the fact that it's not the things around you that's the issue, it's you, that's where the liberation comes. But if they're in the mess of that story, they're drowning in the story that it's everyone and everything.
Yep. And
it's when everything and everyone figures themselves out and the stars align and this is like this and that is like that, and that's when my life will change. Those are the ones I'm like, nah. No.
Again, I like
so
stories.
Those are the ones
can you tell me of an example? Don't have to quote names and stuff, of a recent client where you thought you could help, but eventually you had to say no. That way, people could sort of understand a typical kind of scenario. Yeah.
Well, as I was saying, that it was one particular, and thankfully I've only had 2 people like that, because now I'm really picky about who I work with.
Yeah.
I've had one client who was, like I said, she was, her issue was related to her marriage, her relationship with her husband.
Yes.
And she was hell-bent that it was his fault. Everything was his fault. And he needed to change like this and like this and like this, and it was because of him and him and him and him. And no matter how much she realized that she had control and how much she could change, because she was stuck in the story that it's because he doesn't show me love the way I want him to show me love, and it's because he doesn't talk to me in the way I want him to talk to me, and it's because all of this that I can't be nice to him, and I can't be loving, and I can't show him love, and I can't. So she'd already decided that unless he becomes this perfect human being that she's created in her head, then she can't be who she was created to be, which was loving and caring and kind and connected. So she gave up her power, you know. And this is what I mean by reclaiming the power.
Nice.
You know, finally getting into the driving seat of your thoughts and your feelings. Because if you decide that someone else has to show up in a certain way before you do, you've already lost.
Yeah,
because what happens if they don't?
Yeah.
You're never going to show up as the nice, amazing, fantastic human being who you're created
So
to be.
there's a lot of mindset things going on in your programs. That's cool. Can you tell us, like,
it's all mindset.
all mindset? Yeah, it is. You're right. 80% of the time it is that. And we've been through the programs together. So I guess let's go into your program and find out more about that. Can you tell us, like, you know, what's it involve? I mean, like, what's the time frame expected? Are you a one-on-one coach? How long does the coaching process involve? And yeah, what do you do?
Okay, so it's interesting because the program that I have, my signature program, is 8 weeks long.
Yes.
And it's interesting that, you know, like I said, I am picky about who gets onto the program.
That's right.
Because they need to be suitable, right?
That's right.
So I always have a free breakthrough call with anyone who's interested.
Yep.
And I remember on a breakthrough call with one of the ladies in the program now, she, you know, we had our 60-minute call. At the end of the call, she said, "LaYinka, I have been in therapy for the last 20 years. And I've never had a breakthrough until today."
Nice.
I was like, girl, that was incredible to me. And that was before she even got on the program, right?
Oh, right.
That was just us talking
Yes.
through her problems. And so, you know, the program itself is it's deep, and it really shines light to certain truths that people don't want to look at. So we look at there's a kind of like, it's a 3-part journey if you were. So the first part is to really reconnect with who you really are.
Yep.
And the second part is to reclaim your power. And that is like through exploration of your values, exploration of limiting beliefs, and all of that great stuff. And then the last part is where we, and it's interesting because the last part is very, very short. It's only like 2 weeks long, but the last part is where you start to truly reconnect with people you love through the way you show up in terms of your communication. And people kind of think, well, that should be kind of like a bigger part. But the thing with that is that all the internal work that happens before that is such amazing groundwork that people already, like, from week 1 and 2, people are already having shifts in the program. They are like, one woman on the program, she said, I have in the 4 or 5 years that I've had my daughter, I've not been able to really appreciate her embrace. I actually shudder at her touching me. And in 2 weeks of me really connecting with who I am, I'm able to accept love from my child.
Wow.
I'm like, that's a
that's
big
like
change.
priceless.
Right? We're not even at 8 weeks yet. Right? You're in 2 weeks and you're telling me that you've made some shifts. So the program itself is, you know, it's called Reclaim and Rise. And it's literally to help women to really be empowered with what they already have and to allow that to shine.
Oh, so you really go deep. That's awesome. And so for the people listening to this video, they want to know, oh my god, this is awesome. Oh, where would this go? But where can they find you? I mean, where can they look out for you? Where can they book for this breakthrough call? If you can give us some idea.
So the link for the breakthrough call is layinkasani.com/call. Nice, short, sweet and simple.
Yes.
And that's just for anyone who's interested in going on the program.
Yeah.
So I do have, I have the capacity to work with people one-to-one, but that's on very limited, oh my God, you've got serious issues problem. Because most people, like basis, but most people, the program is absolutely sufficient. And it's amazing because this week, several of the women on the program have been graduating, and I've been having like their final call with them to see, what their next steps are. And I had initially thought that some of them would be like, yeah, I think I need a little bit more support to do this, and I need a little bit more of that. And the majority of them, like 95% of them, have been like, LaYinka, what I have within me is so good. I am ready to just fly.
Nice.
And that for me is like, yes.
Okay, my job here is
done. We have done such good work together that they are ready to just soar with it, and that's beautiful to me because it means that we've done the core work that was necessary.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate you being on this call, and like everyone, like I said, LaYinka just said her link to book a call with us. LaYinka Sani, is it /call? Is that correct?
Yeah, LaYinkaSani.com/call.
LaYinkaSani.com/call. And yeah, I'll put the links in the comments below. And good stuff. Thank you. And that is it. That is a wrap. That's good stuff. Awesome.